Damaging. Is it damaging? Nah, okay, it kept it. Alright, so welcome back again. This is going to be a relatively super quick one today. So name your circumstances. Alright, let's pull the Super Sony around. If it's going to, yes, of course it's not going to pull the source, is it? Give me a second. Well, good question. Why won't you work? Occasionally, that's one of the problems I've found with cam links. Why won't they work? There it goes. Okay, finally. Name your situation, okay? A friend gives you a Mac, you end up with a Mac. Let's turn the light off. We're going to brighten that up a little and hopefully it stays. So you end up with a Mac. Well, somebody gives it to you, you own one, whatever, and you end up with this. You turn it on, and I would try and put this out to HDMI, but I honestly don't think it's going to work. We'll try it though. We're going to wait for it to show up on screen. It does take a few seconds, but once it gets there, it gets there. Now this can happen a couple of ways. One, whenever it fails, do you see that? That flashy question mark. Now, let's say you end up with this and you try booting your computer and holding down, what is it, Option and R for recovery, I think, or yeah, Option R is for the recovery partition, and that don't work. And you end up with this. You may or may not be able to get your data back, especially if your Mac is one that has an SSD in it. But how do you go about fixing this? Well, not 100% guaranteed, but a way that this could happen is if somebody had Windows installed on the Mac, like Windows only, and then that partition was deleted. If your system partition for OS 10, or X as some people say, it's OS 10, if that partition's lost, this can happen. And let's say normally you need a Mac to make a USB installer for a Mac. Okay, so that's one of the problems that we're facing, is you need a Mac to download the app and make the USB installer whenever you end up with the question mark folder. And for curiosity's sake, will it go out to USB? Well, who knows? Let's be curious. Or will it go out to USB? Will it go out over HDMI? I doubt it, but we'll try it just for fun. Alright, we're going to try and deactivate the source and reactivate it. I doubt it's going to send, yeah, nope. No blinky question mark out HDMI. Okay, so how do you fix the question mark folder if you don't have access to a Mac? Well, one, you're going to have to download a DMG file, which is basically the same as an ISO file. It's an image file. It's the Mac version. You're going to need a flash drive. And I wonder if I will have to change my USB ports just to make it simpler. Let me do that. I'm going to swap my mouse for my USB drive. Alright, so one thing you're going to need to do, you're going to have to download the DMG file, like install OS X High Sierra or Yosemite El Capitan app. Find the source to do that, and this is if you're stuck doing it on Windows. Once you have that, we're going to flip over to the display. So you're going to need that, and you're going to need Transmac. I don't know. Really? Are you giving me problems, little mouse? There. Do I have anything still up with the that's the live dashboard? There's that. No, I don't. Okay, so Transmac is an app that you pay for, but you can get a free 15-day trial. So you would want to download this program here, either a Transmac setup zip, then you'll have to extract it with a program like WinZip, 7-zip, WinRAR. I'm not sure if WinRAR, however you want to say it, does it. However, you'll need this program, or you can just straight up download the exe file. Once you have that and have your Mac OS X High Sierra DMG file, we have those two there. Let's go ahead and go through the setup for Transmac. I'm not sure if this is going to make me reboot the computer. If it does, we'll try and do it without it. Hopefully it doesn't. Put an icon on the desktop, associate Transmac with DMG and .sparse image files. So you do get, I think, a 15-day trial with this. You're going to need this program, a USB drive. I'm just going to uncheck those and click finish, minimize, and then we will also minimize and find all the junk. Transmac is here. I'll put it, even though I'm not going to keep it, put it down there and bring our window back. Alright, so let's launch Transmac. I was going to say, I know I clicked it. Trial. So what you do is you wait 15 seconds and you should be able to, or maybe it's 5 or 10, I'm not sure. So you can run it after you wait. You're going to need a USB drive. The one I'm using is a PNY USB disk. Let me find it in the list here. Yeah, days left for evaluation is 15. Okay, so we have, all these are nothing. These are a dock that I have plugged in like a card reader. And there's my PNY USB 2.0 disk. As you can see, it is all ready. Let's find it. It is all ready. It's even titled Install Mac OS X High Sierra. And there are files that were put on there when making it. We're going to take and wipe it out and remake it just because. Say it was a blank USB, never been used. Access this disk. You want to, let's say no. Format disk. Yes, restart as admin. Okay, so what we're going to do is format the USB drive as an administrator. But apparently we have to restart. This much I didn't know. I usually run apps as admin. I just didn't on this one. Alright. This is our previous install Mac OS X High Sierra, but we are formatting that right now. So format disk for Mac, you can get it by going to right click, and let's see if there's an option in tools. No, maybe there's one up here. No. Alright. Go to your USB drive, right click, format disk for Mac. Make sure it's not open anywhere. I don't see it. Yes. Let's just label it OS X. 16 gig drive J, PNY USB 2.0. Yes, I want to continue. Format it. Oh, it doesn't actually do it when you don't have the window activated. I'm just in awe over here, over how the operating system Windows works. Alright, so it is formatting. We're going to let that go ahead and go. Let's jump back over here and take a look at our sad little Mac. In this particular case, how did this happen? This wasn't a lost system partition. Depending on your year of MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, I don't know about the MacBooks. I've never really experienced one of those. You may be able to try and find data, see if there's data left on the drive. If you have a MacBook, MacBook Pro, MacBook Air that's old enough to have a 2.5-inch drive like this, mechanical drive, or an SSD that's in the 2.5-inch form factor, get a SATA to USB 3 cable and check for data if you want. If you're trying to check for data on Windows, you're going to need a program such as Paragon HFS Plus. I probably should have used a USB 3 drive. Paragon is a program. I'll show you the icon at least. Right here, HFS Plus for Windows. It is freeware, but only for so long. You get a trial and then you have to buy it. What that does is let you mount OS 10 or Mac OS formatted hard drives, like the system drive where your user files would be at. So still formatting? Or you're sure tight, watch this. This whole thing's gonna crash. Alright, format complete. Let's hit cancel. We're gonna hit cancel on the Windows prompt that pops up saying to format the disk. We just did it with Transmac. Now we're going to restore with disk image. So right click again, go to restore with disk image. Is the window just not popping up, or hold on, let me read that prompt again. Search for refresh drives list format. Restore with disk image. Yes. Okay, and this is where you're going to browse to your install Mac app, which is on our downloads folder. It should be at the top here, 1013, and then we're going to hit OK. This is going to write that to the 60 gig drive. It's 64 gigabytes, but it shows up as 60 point whatever. We're going to click yes and let it do its thing. While that does that, let's come back over to our Super Sony. We're throwing Mac back on this. What happened in this particular situation was this computer had, the OS 10 was taken off of it, and it was Windows only, but there was, I'm not sure I'm going to use the right words, but how it was done was the EFI partition, if I'm saying that correctly, was still on here. Like how the same way Boot Camp would set up a Windows partition, but it was just that partition to run that, I believe, run that little bit of Boot Camp to boot the Windows operating system, like to give it an OS boot manager. So it was Windows only on it. That was formatted, taken off. The drive was written over and then formatted again, and now we're stuck with this. This can also happen, like I said, when something corrupts your operating system on a Mac, whether it's a bad SSD or whatever can corrupt an operating system drive. This is what we're going to attempt to fix as soon as that's done doing what it's doing. I expect this to take a few more minutes So let's give a check on it. Yeah, we should have used USB 3, would have been the way to do it. Do you see those lines? You see how lines don't look straight when you take straight lines and put them angled for the Sony? If anybody ever sees this, leave a comment. What is that? Is it moire? I can't say the word. There's a word when patterns and stuff freak out on camera. Cannot be fixed by buying a better quality lens. Can you get rid of chromatic aberration, like when looking at logic boards and color fringing, and that effect with a better lens? Would that effect go away? Let's turn the light on for a moment and actually grab a board. If we have one, and we do, it is not very big, but I'm sure we can get our point across. Okay, and let's take a look here, if we can manage to keep it steady enough. Do you see this board isn't as bad as some motherboards, like laptop motherboards, but do you see the what's it called there? Like it doesn't look as clear when you're looking at, like, that looks much better than most boards, but it just doesn't look right. If there's a way to fix that, if a better lens fixes that, somebody please let me know. And this is the downfall of doing stuff live also. It takes actual time to do this, as you can see here. So now let's take a look at this real quick while we're here. Trusty black mat. Here's where the goofiness starts. There's like really no way we can turn this motherboard that effect. Do you see that? I think that is kind of along the lines of that. We can get rid of some of it by turning the laptop, but when you turn it, you get the craziness on the speaker grills, but also like the keyboard and the trackpad. Straight lines don't appear straight. I'm really hoping the answer is a better lens fixes that. If somebody knows, please leave a comment. Alright, so our DMG file that we're writing to our PNY USB drive is, let's look at the size of it so we can see. So it's probably going to take a few minutes. Very dumb doing it to USB 2.0. So what is that? 4.85 gigs. So that's up there in size. That's going to take a few minutes to copy over on USB 2. So we could find something to do until that time. For now, we will shut down the Mac and await our USB drive to be done. And trusty black mat. Okay, so something really seems broken with this computer. This is just off topic. Something to do for a few minutes while that finishes doing what it is doing. Quite a few scans have been run on this drive and test ran, and it passes all tests. The drive is not dead. It doesn't appear to be failing. The status of it is good. What is that? Smart status. And when you run any scans on it that show the smart status of the drive, it passes. It's good. It's okay. A-okay all around. However, this drive just acts like a Windows system drive that's actually infected. You've got some bad virus, bad malware, whatever on it. And it's not the case. I don't believe. As far as I can tell, it isn't. All scans show good all the way around. Is it something new? Something I've never seen before? Possibly. Or something really broken with Windows. That is more what I'm thinking. That something massively broken within the Windows operating system. Remember what box did I bring up? Was it the properties of the hard drive? Like if you go to your C drive, right click on properties on the context menu that pops up, and it brought up the real wide that went off, was here and went off the right edge of the screen, and I kept dragging and sliding the window trying to get to the close box on it, and it was non-existent. Yeah, so something really broken within Windows. We're going to boot this up, see if we can run the program to get data and move on, not let it be a thorn in our side. 5 gigs over USB 2.0, what are we looking at? Hopefully not too long. See, these are the kind of dumb things you can expect to do when you follow me off that cliff. 2019, I should have used USB 3. What was I thinking? I'm an idiot. Well, one main reason, I didn't have any empty USB 3 drives, so we had to go with the old USB 2 drive, and it was already formatted as Mac. Already had, I think, what was it, Sierra, High Sierra on it, whatever they call it. And true, that's a little bit older version of Mac, I believe. I think there's something newer out. I don't use OS 10. Don't really follow it, but the owner of the unhappy MacBook wants Mac put back on it, so that's what we're gonna do. Alright, powering up. Looks good. Any scans that were ran on this for malware and such returned nothing. With it plugged in as an external, a few scans that were ran on it did remove a couple minor things, but nothing major that would warrant the way this thing is acting. The owner, I didn't talk to him personally. Dave did, I believe, the other guy. He talked to him, and I think the owner said it has always, since the day he got it, been just slow and goofy. Like, not good. HDMI, do we have it? Yeah, we'll throw it up on screen once it gets booted up and we get past the user login screen. See, looking here, I wish this had a status readout. That don't tell me nothing. That's not moving nearly fast enough. Can you believe it? Kind of moron uses USB 2.0 in 2019. Are you thinking? What are you doing? What are you doing, poor little Acer? We want to believe. We want to believe you can do it. We're just not convinced. Right, so we're kind of at a standstill. It can happen whenever you pull hard drive to plug it in as an external. It can be a little slow on boot up, cause I don't know. Even if you take care, and when you have the whatever drive plugged into a system and then you unplug it, if you go to your bottom right corner and select to remove the device safely, it's still, some computers it's right back in action, snap, boom, done. Other computers, when you reinstall a hard drive, it takes more than a minute. See, here's what I'm getting at. We're not even halfway across this progress bar yet. I'm guessing that, does that progress bar represent the size of the data being copied, or the size of the USB drive? Because if it's the size of the USB drive, then we're well past the 5 gig mark if that's representing 64 gigabytes. And it should have been done. So it has to be the size of the data that's being copied, plus everything else we got going on. This could take a little bit. I didn't think it would take this long. It's been a year or so since I had to do this though, so we'll let that ride and move on here. $18.03, are you gonna completely crash the computer? We'll find out soon enough. And let's go onto the computer. Oh yeah, that's right. This might be the one that didn't like the having an external display plugged in. It made it go all weird. Yeah, we'll try again. We're going to go in here to the display settings to try and throw it up on the screen. Alright, so indeed, we've tried it, we've tested it, no dice. As far as whatever's wrong with it now, it's not going to display out to the computer. I know it did once. The HDMI port is in good condition, so I'm going to say it's not that. As you can see there, HDMI port looks fine, so not the issue. I'm going to say something is massively Windows. Multiple displays not happen. Part of it is, look, it was a thing people used to always say it, and I heard it quite a bit from other people. There was the huge fad, trend, rage of getting online coupons and the coupon printers and printing your own coupons at home. And I think it's still a thing, but I don't think it's as Wild West as it used to be. Like, a lot of computers were infected by that originally, and that wasn't the only thing that had gotten a computer infected, but it was like the start of, that snowball rolling down a hill. It's going to get bigger and bigger. Well, it was like that coupon thing was pretty much close to the top of the hill where the snowball started, if it wasn't something else. Was it the coupon printer? There were a lot of bogus ones. I'm going to say that much. I remember. But I haven't seen too many of those these days, but every once in a while. And I'm not going to say this company's name here, but I'm seeing something goofy on the desktop for an icon. Alright, so now we're going to go in and check what programs are installed. And because I can't get this thing to display out, we're going to do the slightly zoomed in. And it doesn't look like anything too crazy. We've got some Acer programs that go along with the computer. Dashlane upgrade service. What are you? We'll look into that. Norton is on here, but it doesn't look as though... Alright, part of Norton is either an error or shut down. Or it needs attention, rather. Yeah, there's nothing super crazy that I see. So, let's take a look. What can we remove? What was the name of that? Dashlane upgrade service. So let's take a quick look at that while we check the status. Still taking a bit. Let's do a search just to find out. Okay, should I remove it? A good place to check. If you see, go into your control panel and programs and features, or add remove programs. If for some reason you're on a much too old version of Windows that still calls it the add remove programs instead of programs and features, this is someplace you can come and get a little bit of an explanation on what it is. Is it dangerous? Do they show results? Is this the place that shows results of what other programs say? (64.23% of installs come from the United States). Alright, so back to what it is. they don't have a full description, but if we want to help, we can. Well, thank you very much. Overall, what percent of users and experts removed it? 1% remove it, 99% keep it. Okay, so not something we should remove. So we're going to leave it be right where it is. The only other thing I saw is shop ebates, but that may be a service this particular user uses, so we're not going to remove that. Norton, we will, however, shut down before running any type of scan, any tool for removing anything. Your best bet is to always either shut down or exit from your antivirus. So we'll shut this down permanently. That was the auto protect, and now we're going to shut down or disable smart firewall if it lets me. Again, just out of curiosity's sake, we're going to put this thing online to see what happens, because has it been connected? No, it still hasn't been connected yet. Will it turn into a whole new animal once it gets online? Alright, let's look at our transmac. This has to end soon, or I'm gonna call it quits. We'll do it tomorrow. Okay, so how quick would this happen with a USB 3 drive? That's what I'm wondering right now. Could I just wipe out one of my drives and have this done in like a minute? Hey, you know what? We're not going to do that. We're going to continue on. It's no massive loss, just a little bit of time. We are connected to the internet, so we're going to get a few tools and attempt to run them. %, on the 1803 feature update. Is that a feature update? Yes. What fun. What fun. How bad are you going to break this old computer? How bad? Tell me. Microsoft, tell me. Don't you pause. Okay, give me a moment here. We're gonna put back that guy's light. That guy over there is light. We borrowed his one light today. So we're gonna go ahead and thread this thing back over where it belongs, plug it in. $9.19 update, and then we'll start you up on a fresh refresh scan. Look for a couple things out of order. And you work. Good. Nothing lost. Just let it be as it is. Alright, is our tool ready? We are ready to hit next and scan. We're going to let that do what it's doing. 93% now on the 1803 update and 70 maybe percent on our Mac. So while that's going, save that coupon. Oh, I forgot. Here is the chip. What was it we were working on? I can't remember. Friday, what was it? Tell me. Somebody give me a hint. So we got the little chip in. That's for the Panasonic. It's in a package. I'm not going to pop it out yet. But it's the... oh, I have a blank right now. HDMI encoder IC for a PlayStation 4. So we have that. We're going to do some fault testing on that and try and work through that, get it working for the gentleman. But this showed up today, so awesome. We have it on hand. If it does happen to be that, we can throw one on there instead of finding out it is it and then having to wait on it later. Just checking in, believing that you're going to get there at some point today. Does anybody out there ever, when you're waiting on something, go and grab the window and shake it around like it froze up? It just needs that little shake to get it moving. I used to think that was a real thing. Maybe the closest I've seen to that ever being a real thing was when you would take something like this or any laptop other than a MacBook or MacBook Air or MacBook Pro. When you take PC hardware and try to do a Hackintosh with some of the early distros, they would, whenever you were installing, you had the little I think it was a little beach ball spinner. Or is that when it crashed? When you were install the blue progress bar going across, it would tell you to like move your finger on the actual trackpad and hit the space bar to keep the computer from like letting itself go to sleep while installing, or the distro had a chance of failing. IATCOS, I think, was one of the ones that you'd want to keep weak. Maybe IPC, or I don't know, I can't remember. It's been too long since I was into all that, doing it with the distros. The Tony Mac, what is it? Unibeast and Multi-Beast method's pretty good. Cakewalk, I think Clover, a lot more current. So if you want to go down that road, check that out. Is it legal? 100%? I don't know. According to Apple, no, because you only, even if you buy the computer, you're renting their software off of them, I think is how it reads in the terms of service in the fine print in lawyer speak. You're renting the software. Renting. It's great content. And you get to rent software. Boy, this weight is killing me. Like, look at this. Next time I'm gonna use a smaller drive. Or no, I guess smaller drive wouldn't matter in this case. It's just that almost 5 gigs over USB 2. I think that's the killer speed right there. Since we're here. File transfer time calculator. Five gigabytes. Ah, they want us to do it that way. 480 megabits. Megabits. And this is best case scenario, right? This isn't like real world. This is best case. And 1 minute and 33 seconds? Definitely not. Now, is it, it's gotta be going much slower than that. Anyhow, we've came this far, we're gonna stick this one out, even though it's dumb. Like I said, we probably could have started that over and honestly beat it coming back around with USB 3. Or maybe not. Maybe Transmac can only read and write at the speed it's doing, and it would just been a painful wait all over again. Who knows? I think I said this during the Galaxy S8 live stream, doing that screen swap and screen and mid frame swap, I guess it is, where you gotta move all the small parts over. Edited videos are a lot more fun than live stream. Live streaming's fun. Live streaming is fun as well. However, how do I want to say it? Like doing edited videos where this would be compressed down into a couple minutes, yes, that's fine. But what's lost is the real, like, reality is lost. Reality is distorted in it, in a sense that us doing this right now, making this USB installer for an Apple computer, for this this MacBook Pro over here, you don't see that it just, you go and do it and bang, it's back. Now, yeah, granted, people can tell you the time it takes, but this is actual real world representation of how painfully long this wait has been. Like, we're stumbling in here on our words, on our feet, for content. Anyhow, waiting on Malwarebytes anti-rootkit to finish. Windows update, it seems like it's never going to complete. It's ticking the percents up one by one. Anybody that's ever done that knows it is painful. Does the light help? No, the light don't help. Sony, you just suck. I don't believe in you today. I don't believe in you at all today. There's not very many things either too. Like for instance, when running scans, I'm just talking random junk now while we wait on that piece of junk over there. Not very many times when I've seen a few programs get stuff. Malwarebytes anti-rootkit. It was a beta program. TD, TSSD, TDSS killer, whatever it is. But the times that they do find something, it's worth it. But I'm not going to say like 99, but a high percentage of the time they literally find nothing. And there are even some options you can go in and change. If I had like a better view of the screen where it wasn't all crazy, I'll show you. Next time we run this, I'll try to remember to bring it up. Actually, it's not this. It's what is the name of it? TDSS Killer. It's made by Kaspersky Labs, I think, the same people that make internet security, and I think there's one other or a few other that they make. All right, we're gonna start prepping to get this done. It's time. It's actually past time to get out of here for the day. What? Move you, little Lenovo, while you do your thing. We're gonna get our Mac back over here and hopefully get this install going. All right, and success. And there it remounted. Let's pull this. Wrong one. Okay. As we can see, restore complete. We're going to hit OK and close out Transmac. Here is our drive that we just created. It looks very similar to the one that we just deleted or formatted in order to do this live stream. Let's get back there. Where did my OBS go? There you are. Alright, you're back. Anyhow, we're going to pull the drive out. Put my mouse back where it belongs. And never do nothing ever again with USB 2.0. Completely useless. We do have our blinky folder, as you can see. And we're going to hold the power button to power off. Plug in our USB drive. Power up, and we're going to power up and wait for till we hear the chime. Once we hear the chime, we're going to hit, what is it, option, wow, is it option B? Option C? I'm not sure. We'll try a couple till we get to it. There's one where you can boot 2 disk. It's either Option or Command B. I guess we could look it up. If you can't tell, I don't do much installing of OS 10. Alright. Boot to USB. Really? Alright, so it did end up booting. Something came up when I went to Google. Is our computer fixed? I don't believe so. No. Not even close. We're starting the install. Merely starting that. And we're not sticking around for this because Apple lies like hell. You will get it down to about a minute, less than a minute, and it'll be there for quite a few minutes. Either way, it's not our flashy question mark folder. It is booting from the USB. We've got, that's a tiny app. Oh, this thing has a Retina display. Okay, 15-inch and Retina, so it's got a super tiny Apple there. I think that's just for the, is it Clover Boot Manager? I'm not sure. Whatever it was that was put on the drive. But that is how you make a OS 10 USB installer on a Windows PC. With the, you got to find a place to download the OS 10 app installer DMG file. If you do it with some of the distros, let me put this note out there, or no, put this warning out there. I don't know what will happen. I've only ever read other people say online that it doesn't end well. Don't download distros or try and put like the Hackintosh versions of OS 10. Don't try and install that on a real Mac. What will it do? Probably, I mean, will it work? Maybe. I don't know. Will it hurt the computer? I don't know. No promises, no guarantees either way. However, if you have any type of access to a Mac, have an account, you can create an account with Apple, and if you ever bought, I think, Snow Leopard, which I do have a hard copy of the Snow Leopard install disk. If you bought that, I think 10, what was that, 10.6? Then you should have access to the App Store with updates that came to that, and I think you might have had to buy one of the downloadable app versions, and then you'll have access to download the free upgrades, which is pretty nice. You know, that's one way that you can download them. That is how I originally got the install for this drive before we wiped it out. The one today was downloaded again. But anyhow, yeah, use Transmac, format your USB drive as Mac, and then restore to the disk the OS 10 installed DMG file. Well, I don't think it'll work with the ESD or the app file that you would normally see in your applications folder when on a Mac. Anyhow, we're going to let this do its thing, run away, and come back. Anyhow, thanks for hanging out, clicking that link on this long, drawn out, and very boring stream of how to make an OS 10 USB installer on Windows. We did it all without access to a Mac. Surely some people end up in that situation. It may be useful. I'm not going to tell you how and where to go out and find the OS 10 install DMG file, but it does exist. It's out there. you can actually, can you convert it? I'm not sure if you can convert the app to or pull out the ESD file from a, like one you would download on your Mac. I think you can. I don't know. Not a Mac guy. It's not my forte. Nice operating system, nice hardware, not so nice price, and not so nice defects in practices. There's a lot to that, though, a lot to unpack. Anyhow, thank you for hanging out, getting your hands dirty. Let me get mine dirty. Have a good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Certainly, it is one of those somewhere, anywhere out there. Learn something, do something different today. Share it, like it, share this, like this. Thank you, as always, for hanging out. I appreciate it.